This conference will now be recorded.
All right. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general laws, the governor, and the Governor March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Town of Harwich Cemetery Commission on Tuesday, April 27, 2021 at 8 p.m. will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. No in-person attendance of members of public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the Town of Harwich website an audio and video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Harwich Cemetery Commission at 8:01. And we should have a moment of silence for the 3 Harwich residents that passed away.
Yes, so we had three separate residents. It was Cindy, did you want to do that?
We can.
Okay.
Of course, I don't have the names right in front of me.
Okay. All right. So we had Peggy Rose, who was on our Harwich Historical Society, who passed away in early April, and then we had Stephen Ford, and then we just this past week had Link Thatcher. All 3 of those members were very prominent in our town, and we'd just like to take a moment of silence just to recognize all that they have done for the town of Harwich. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
The first email is from Wendy Tulloch for the town accountant.
Yeah, I included those in the packet, but then if you go past those, you can go to my Excel spreadsheet, which I think, Steve, you'd like better.
Yes.
So
It's
when you get to the cemetery revolving account, I have a year-to-date that we have up to this point. We have taken in $61,730. And we have expended $28,543.84. And our current balance in the cemetery revolving account is $105,167.44. Last week, we received the stump grinder. It might have been 2 weeks ago, but last week I received our portion of that, which was $20,013. You're probably not going to see that as an invoice because we voted on that previously, and I think that Carol Capola will just be taking the portions out from the golf, from our cemetery revolving account, and from the DPW, as we all 3 of us split that. I don't know if you guys remember that. We voted on that like last year, but we finally did it, which was very exciting. So they are working so hard in the cemetery right now. They've been in there for days, removing all of the stumps that are around, and boy, it makes a huge difference. I think everyone, when you get a chance, walk around and take a peek. It looks really great. So I'm very pleased that we finally received it, and I'm very excited that that's moving forward.
Yeah, it'll be nice to get those stumps out of there.
Yes. definitely.
Thank you.
Normally, so we're up a lot higher than we usually are for lot sales. Normally, we're probably at around $35,000 or $40,000, but we're over $61,000 so far this year, and it's probably going to be a record year for lot sales for us. I know that I have to meet quite a few more people in Evergreen this week, and we'll have to see where we end up by the end of the year, but it's been significant.
Great.
Now, the lot sale, that includes the cremation lots too?
Yeah, that's all the lot sales and actual the $100 interment fees. So right now I have a lot of interments coming up in June. A lot of people who have passed away this winter have called. Yesterday I scheduled 3 in June. So one in Pine Grove, one in Mount Pleasant, and one in Pond. So it's going to start getting extremely busy, and it's important that I schedule those so I know which we don't want them to go on at the same time. So okay, we'll see. We had over 30, almost 40 people who have passed away since the pandemic started who have been holding on to their ashes, and they're going to start doing burials. So I think this summer it's going to be very busy.
I think so. Then we got a letter made for the Etsy's.
Yes, we drafted a letter. I had, of course, Rob proofread it for me because he's excellent at that. And so this, and I did speak to them. So they did call and asked, they watched the meeting. So they did call, and I know that they've been down to Crosby's to look at because they did all their other monuments there. And Tom went over with them. There's actually 2 sides where they could put names on the memorial. So he went over all the different options that they would have. And
Okay.
I also met with him separately to go over the movement of the footstone away from the tree next to the stone. So that should be moving forward.
And he seems okay with those decisions?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, he would prefer it if he could add more monuments, but he's okay with it.
Okay. At least he understood what our reasoning was.
Right. So I will bring this letter with us when we go later so that you guys can all sign it.
Okay. Now we get an email from Phoebe Plank.
Yeah, so Phoebe is the program specialist at AmeriCorps, and every year that we have a member, I have to fill out a request for services through them. And I wanted to get in and do a rough draft, because if you do a rough draft for their proposal, they review it and give you a lot of feedback, so that way when they make their decisions on placement, then I answered all their questions. If I put it in at the last minute, I might have missed something. So she did already email me back some things that she'd like me to address, which I will, but she says she loved the application and she looks forward to me submitting the final draft. But as you know, AmeriCorps has been invaluable to us and has done so much work in the cemetery. So we want to continue with that service, which is free to the town. And I have to say, we've been so lucky. Our AmeriCorps members, first with Hannah and then with Ashley, have been exceptional. So I look forward to getting another member next year to help out.
Cool. Now, do they only do Island Pond, or are they in the other cemeteries also?
So you have to write the proposal for a specific thing, and they normally don't just do, it has to be related to doing education, it has to do with natural resources, so they just can't go in and like trim shrubs. We can put in work orders or work projects for them to go to the other cemeteries and do maintenance. They've worked in Evergreen 3 times this past year, doing pruning and other projects. And I do have a project in for them do Pine Grove. So they will do those, but as a member, I don't think that they would approve one for us just to do for all the cemeteries.
I was just curious about that.
Yeah, I know Jim asked me too. He was like, that would be fantastic. But we're just thrilled to have them I mean, there's plenty for them to do, and not only in the Island Pond Cemetery, but in the conservation parcel. There's a lot to do down there, just clearing up the trails and doing stuff like that. So it's not just Island Pond, it's also the trail system that connects to make the Island Pond Arboretum. So very excited about that.
And then we got a letter from the Daughters of the American Revolution.
Well, first we got the email from Carol Coppola. So I did, we skipped one. So I'll just go back. Okay, so we do have a new account set up. So she wants us to use this account, the one for donations and then one for supplies when we use it. So these two new accounts will be set up in her office. The checks will be made out to the town of Harwich. They can put in the memo field for the Veterans Memorial, whatever we want to call it. We'll probably put that on the letter, but the checks need to be made out to the town of Harwich. And then these are the account numbers that I will deposit them in. So I have to add these new account numbers to my deposit sheet so that way they are separated. Right.
Now we go to the Daughters of the Revolution.
Yeah, so I did get a letter back from Mary Ann. She is with the Joshua Gray and Jonathan Thatcher chapter, and they can't donate to us this year. She kind of wanted to get us money this year to help pay for the flags in the circle, but she definitely wants to be informed moving forward, and they're going to try to get some money for us for next year. So I think it's important that we continually update these different veterans groups with progress, and as soon as we hopefully get it passed in a week or so at town meeting, I'd like to draft a letter saying that it is moving forward, and just to keep them updated. I know that this is, this is the Revolutionary War side of it. We'll also be contacting the people in charge of the Civil War, because there's groups for the Civil War as well.
Well, it sounds like she's going to outreach with this, right?
Yes, she
So
is.
it probably wouldn't hurt to have the names of the Revolutionary War veterans.
So what I'll do is I'll give her a draft list of names that I have. She might actually even have some names to
Right.
cross-reference with me. So I will reach out to her and see if we can cross-reference our lists and see what, if she can reach out to those people.
Is it, and I'm just brainstorming here, is it possible to do not really the overhead view that we have for the design of the memorial,
Mhm.
but sort of an oblique kind of bird's eye view so that people could see this is what the Harwich Veterans Memorial is going to look like? And I just, I don't want to say a selling point, but
I can look into that for sure.
there's a name for that perspective. I don't know what it is. But.
An elevation? Not quite an elevation.
Almost like we're doing with the Arboretum software, like a Cemetery 360, where you actually be able to Google walk through something, right?
Right.
Similar.
Right.
Okay. Perfect.
I mean, that may just help if she's going to forward our package, to members of the DIR.
Okay.
You don't have any drawings done up like that of like the walking with the view?
So right now, I'm just still compiling the list of names. And I am on page, I'm on page 546 of 800. And I do have a lot of names that I am going to be looking up, because in the 14th Battery Regiment, which most of the people in it are from Barnstable, they have a few people listed as being in Hardwick. And I think they're from Harwich. So
Okay.
I am going to see if that's a transcription error, because one of them's name's Joseph Atwood, and I do have a Joseph Atwood.
Mhm.
So I want to cross-reference these names. And another one back in a different one on the 10th battery, his name was James Thatcher, listed in Harwick, and Elbridge Thatcher, which was listed in Hardwick. But other people in their platoon were from Yarmouth and Sandwich. So I think it could potentially be a transcription error. So I am going to do some research on them. It gives me their age and their enlistment date. So I'll cross-reference those, and I will make sure that we're not missing anyone, because they were in, these records there, they're all transcribed by people in Hardwick and Harwich are very close. So I just want to make sure that they're not, and they are names from our town. So that was the other thing. I was like, well, that name is definitely a Harwich name. So they might be from Hardwick, but I just want to confirm before we don't include them. So as I'm going through and I read each name and where they're from, if it looks like it could be a transcription error, I kind of highlight it, and then I'm going to go back afterwards and just go through. I just don't want to have to redo the monument after. I want to make sure that we have a thorough list, because that would be a lot of extra work.
Yeah.
And the other day I was talking to a company in California, and they said, so just confirm your address is Harwick, Massachusetts. And I went, did you have a sandwick for lunch? I don't know what's so hard about it, but
I know it's a lot of people will, when I do genealogy, do the same thing, and they put Hardwick, and I'm like, no, it's Harwich.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a letter from Catherine Spritzer.
Yes. So both of so they have a 6th grade lot located in Island Pond. Their parents both went to the Aboard National, and so they're not going to be using it. So the sisters would like a tax donation write-off letter. So we're not going to be buying it back from them, because it was bought so long ago. It was not really, it was like something like $75. So instead we give them a tax write-off, which they can, and I just give them the tax ID number, and they can write it off on their taxes as a donation back to the town. So it's a win-win for us. So we get to, I'll draft the letter, and you guys will all have to sign it. So I'm still waiting for, she sent the letter in, but she didn't give me her sister's address. So I'm waiting for her to respond with the sister's address. As soon as she has that, then, unless you want me, usually I like the commissioners to sign the letter.
Okay.
So people don't think I'm just giving out letters. So I'll draft that up, and I will get that to you guys as soon as we can.
Cool. We get the software bids.
We did. So, and I probably should have put on here, I did have a conversation with Zudi. They did not end up bidding on it. I should have put them on the list of people I reached out to, but we only need 3 people. So I included the 3 bids that we got. So there's 7 sites with at $34,980, and their 2-year hosting was $13,960. Web Services of America, oh, I have a typo there. Their bid was $28,700, and their 2-year hosting, which is divided, each year divided by 2. We only put in a cap of $7,000, so they were under it. And then Web Cemeteries, which came in at $22,423, but they won't include any of the imaging. They don't want to do the Cemetery 360 part, which was the most important part for us. So that, I mean, we want people the reason why we're doing the software is so that if somebody comes to visit us in the cemetery, I don't have to physically tell them how to get to the grave space.
Yeah.
And that was one of the most important features. So actually the company that got it is based out of Dennisport.
Awesome.
So they also did, and they showed me some of the software that they've developed in the past. Not 2 years ago when they had the Boston Marathon, they assigned numbers to each one of the runners, and they could virtually follow them with footage through the race. I mean, they do a lot of imaging stuff that is in real time. And he sent me some other stuff to look at. So he did a little, and I probably should forward it on to you guys, kind of a little intro that he would like to put on the app that shows Island Pond Cemetery and has all these images that come in and out. It was really well done. So I will send this, all this information was sent last week to both Griffin and to Megan, because they're the procurement team, and they will review all of the documents and go out through all of the specs and decide if this person actually gets the bid, and then they will proceed with writing up the contract that they will have to sign.
Great.
Now, is this service something we can extend to the other cemeteries also? It's
Yes,
expandable?
so yes. So when we got this originally, we wanted to make sure that we could eventually expand this to the other cemeteries, because I mean, the other cemeteries people visit as well. So we want people to be able to sort and find and do their lineage and all that other stuff on all the cemeteries. So eventually we could, each year we could add another one, which would be great.
Interesting.
So this one would be the hardest one to do, because most of the other cemeteries are very linear. So they're all like, their lots are all laid out. This cemetery was, as you know, meandering. I mean, so it's very hard to do the imaging and mapping in here, because a lot of the lots are all different sizes. Where if you go in the other cemeteries, it's mostly straight lines. Or in the case of the new section of Evergreen, it's like a semicircle, but it's really gridded out very well. So I'm excited. Hopefully we'll move forward with this, and it'd be nice if we could have this summer. So I'm hoping they improve it as quickly as possible.
Has this been cited, web services versus SEM sites?
So SEM Sites is a cemetery mapping software company that does mostly just mapping. They do some imaging services as well, and they do have some type of a mobile app as well. We did only put in $30,110, which they knew. The other thing is SEM Sites, anytime you want to make a change, they had additional charges that were going to go on top of it as well. And I don't know that the procurement team was comfortable with that, because we don't know how much money they would charge if we needed to change a whole bunch of things.
Right.
Where I think both web cemeteries and web services both included that stuff. So SEM Sites was higher, and they were going to charge for additional things as well. So I think they would have, I don't know if it would have gone before procurement. I think we'd have to go back to town meeting if we wanted to raise the amount of money that we were allocating to this. So it's a 3-year contract anyways. And at the end of the 3 years, if we decide that it's, wasn't what we were we weren't happy with them, we can go back out to bid and get a different company to do it. But we would own all of the information that they develop, and it would be town property. And then the new person would then, they would import all of my access database records, and which will have all the lot information on all the veterans. So you'd be able to sort by World War I, World War II. You'd be able to search by some of the fields that I have. Some people know that they had an aunt, maybe Cindy Eldridge, but they don't know who she married. So you can search in the database just for Cindy. And then you'd be able to see by process of elimination, because we'll have date of birth and date of death, and you might be able to figure out who she married from that. So it's a pretty good system if you're trying to do either lineage, or you're just trying to find where a burial is. If you want to visit, someone who died, you were at the gravesite maybe 10 years ago and you just can't find it.
I think it'd be nice too to have a local company too, so they should be able to take care of issues pretty quick, I would think.
Yeah. Yes. Could drive right over there.
Okay, now we get the CPC emails.
Yep. So I had to go before the CPC last Thursday night to give them an update on the Pine Grove Cemetery article, which was passed at last year's town meeting. If you see from it was actually quite lengthy meeting for them, as there are a lot of outstanding CPC articles from other years, and some of them go back to 2015. So what they're trying to do is clear up all of the CPC articles, the older ones, to find out what the balances are in their account and find kind of like follow the process. So we received $75,000 for the Pine Grove conservation of the gravestones over there. And so I did meet with Griffin and Megan in March, and we went over our procurement checklist to make sure that we had everything in order, and it is a 30B procurement because it's at $75,000. So then I emailed them back, and they did send me a new contract, which I am working on right now. You have to fill in all of these different places on the form, like what day it's going out to bid, where the bid has to be accepted. So there was a few questions. Griffin was on vacation last week, so I just have to review that with him and Megan this week, and hopefully it'll go out to bid on Monday. So it's all ready to go, and they thanked me for all of the CPC articles that we have. We usually get the money and we spend it. So usually we are quick with our follow through. So I make sure that all of the stuff is in order. Usually try to go out to bid as soon as I can, and then I give them updates on all of our articles. I usually do 1 or 2 CPC articles a year, and this is my only outstanding CPC article right now. So I'm actually glad I didn't have to. Some of the people on the list were doing 3 or 4 different articles that they still had outstanding. I was glad I only had 1 because so it's a lot of paperwork to go through and make sure, when it was awarded, what the steps are, the process of getting it completed, and then either, giving back the money or how did you finish out the article. It's very upsetting probably for a lot of the people who were doing construction ones, because due to the pandemic, they put in for a certain amount of money, but now everything's so much more expensive. So some of their things aren't going to be able to be completed like they originally put it in, because the funding's just not there. So fortunately for us, ours is just a service, and I think when we put it out to bid, I think it's going to be very competitive, and I think we'll be under. So I'm hoping that ours move forward pretty quickly.
Okay. And then the email from Christine Bassett on Benjamin.
So I met with Christine Bassett in the cemetery, and she was telling me so much about Benjamin Cleveland Bassett. She actually sent me a packet of information, and he was a pretty fascinating member of this town. And literally the packet of information she sent me, from everything from photographs to newspaper articles. He was in the newspaper more than anyone that I've ever counted in any of our cemeteries. So I mean, there was tons of articles about his businesses and what he did, and he witnessed a suicide, and I mean, there was just a lot of information. Being a genealogist and loving history, it was very fascinating. I just thought I'd include it in the packet just to show. He's probably going to be on one of our tours, maybe one of the ones that we do on all the musicians that are buried in the Arboretum because he owned this nightclub and she couldn't stop talking about this nightclub that he owned. And I didn't even realize there was a nightclub in Howard at one point, but it is pretty fascinating information. But so I thought I'd include it. I was kind of scanning all the documents, but there were so many of them. I thought, you know, it would be a little much. But he'll definitely be on one of our tours, and she was delightful. Just a very nice lady.
Okay, now we go to,
Oh, wait a minute, Steve. I don't think we did the minutes.
no, we didn't, did we?
Approval.
I'm skipping all sorts of stuff that I haven't. So we need to approve the minutes from March 2nd, April 6th. Do I have a motion on those?
So moved.
Seconded?
Yes.
All in favor?
All right.
They're accepted.
Yes.
You know. All right. I will send those right off to the town clerk later today.
Okay. Now, old business, or new business.
So we have an update on the CPC articles. So we still have both of our CPC articles on for the town meeting. At the end of the CPC meeting the other night, they talked about a grant agreement between the church and the town in order for us to move forward with fixing the stones in the East Harwich / Union Cemetery, which we are more than happy to get a grant agreement. And I think that Dawn, being on the Board of Selectmen, would be on top of that anyways. So I think they might make a motion on town meeting floor that the funds would not be made available until a grant agreement was signed, protecting the town in case somebody got injured on the property of the church. Which I'm in, you know, I think that would be a great thing. And they still haven't received anything back from legal opinion. As I've always stated, I'm not an attorney, and I didn't say that we own the property. I said that we own the cemetery and the rights to maintain and preserve it. So I didn't ever see a taking in a new deeds filed at the Registry of Deeds, which would have been concrete. So I still think that we should be, because we received their perpetual care funds, be maintaining this. And I feel like it should move forward. And if it ends up getting pulled, which would be fine, we could revisit it for next year. I'm just concerned about the two of the memorials that are severely damaged that I kind of want to have repaired, but we'll have to do whatever the town council deems that we should do. So I think moving forward, it'd be nice if it went forward, but if it doesn't, then we'll have to revisit it again.
Okay, now is there a way that if it doesn't go forward that we could take care of those two that are in really bad shape?
I can check with Joe and ask them if we could even, because one of them's in so many pieces. I think that, so if we ask the girl who did the gravestones, Cheryl Caputo, if we asked her if she would remove them, she could bring them back to her shop, fix it, and then replace it, then put it back into. So she wouldn't be working on at the cemetery. She could bring it back and do it at her shop, and then she could bring it back and place it.
Would she be liable if anything happened?
She has insurance, so she's
Oh,
fully.
okay.
So
I know nobody's gonna.
She's done that for a lot of the other really older. She did a lot of work in the Boston Cemetery at the North Church.
Yeah.
So she had to remove some of those, bring those back, and then, you know, reset
Good.
them. I think it was the North Church that she went. But,
Yeah, I think that's something worth looking into if we don't go through that whole thing.
right,
Just take care of the worst.
right. So the update on the Civil War veterans. So I am working on the Civil War veterans, but I'm trying to finish up the Revolutionary War veterans right now first. But I do have some people who have been emailing me and wanting to help with that. So they already had some lists that they want me to take a look at. So I'll just verify that they were in fact Civil War veterans from Howard. So
Right.
there are people that are in the community, which are great, that are helping us out, that heard about the project and have reached out to me and said, boy, I'd like to help on that. So I'm excited about that. So as soon as I get a newer updated list, maybe by the next meeting, we can put those names in the packet and just so that you guys can see where we're at.
Okay. And now new business.
We have
We
We
have
have
the town meeting article.
Pardon?
the
The town
articles for
meeting
town
item
meeting.
C.
Yeah. So the articles for town meeting. So far we have the ones that I put in your packet last meeting is going to be both a CPC articles so far, the cemetery revolving account, and then my budget, which is unchanged from last year. So the budget gets passed at the beginning of the town meeting with everybody's budget. Hopefully will be passed. And then the other 3 articles. So that I gave you in the last month's packet, last April 6th packet.
Okay. Now new business. I gotta pay more attention, don't I?
So we had new deeds. We had Raymond or Link and Beverly Thatcher. And then we had Danielle Flaherty's one grave, and then Steve and Patricia Ford. I put the Steve and Patricia's, I know you guys have already signed those, but they weren't in because that happened in between 2 meetings. Patricia Chronicle and then Peter and Sarah Ford. So those were the deeds that we've sold since the last meeting. I'll need you to sign a couple of those when we meet later today. And then we just had our regular bills, which was Eversource, $6. Agway, $226.07. Me and Ashley had gone out to the pollinator garden at the front of the cemetery, and some of the things did not survive from last year. So we bought some, we were going to buy anyways, some new species to put in there. And I'd love for you guys to come and see it. It came out awesome. So it ended up being $226.07. And then I have the water bills, which was Pine Grove, 85. South Howard was 35. Island Pond was 85. North Howard was 85. Mount Pleasant, the regular cemetery part was 35, and the Mount Pleasant building was $42.74. Henry T. Crosby and Son was $250, and I had an additional thing that was added to the bill list that wasn't on the agenda, but it was an older bill from WB Mason. When I got my desk, one of the parts to the desk was not on the original bill. They had sent it to me, but I must have misplaced it. So I scanned it, and it's on the last page of the bills I sent to you today. So it's $126.89. I had received a statement from them on 4/7 for that amount, for the $126.89, and I called and spoke to their accounting department, and we went through all of the bills, and this one is outstanding. So I just wanted to let you know that that was not in the original agenda, but it is in the scanned items that I had emailed you guys for the bills that to be paid.
Cool.
So you
Anything-
guys can review those and then let me know, or I'll bring them with me, and then you can sign off on them at the one of the cemeteries.
Okay, now we say a tour of the cemeteries to be determined.
Well, So do we want to do any other business? Does anybody have any other business?
I do.
Okay.
I just want to request a list of new veterans for the Memorial Day flags.
Yes, and I do have quite a few new veterans, so.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Cindy, I also have the World War I and World War II new flag holders that we ordered, and I know that we had previous years, we had some busted ones. They had ordered some plastic ones, and these are the real
The real deal.
flag holders. So I kind of want to get you some of those so that way when
Yes.
you or John are out, you can put in the new ones.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Do you need help doing that, Cindy?
Not usually, but I'll holler if I do. Thank
Okay,
you.
give us a call.
Okay, thanks.
Now we have down touring one of the cemeteries, or do we want to do one today, or want to do several of them another morning, or something like that, or I don't know how you want to work that out.
So I'd like to do one today, and because we have it on the agenda for sure. And if we're going to tour another one, I have to post it, so we would have to need a couple days notice to do
Okay.
that. So if you guys wanted to tour another one, or we could try to cram in two today. But there is one of the Fords would like to meet me down at the Island Pond later today to go over the new natural or native species garden that we're putting in the back, which is behind where Stephen is buried in. That is also where Link is going to be buried in the back there. So she wanted to just touch. She is her and her husband are horticulturists, and they were very interested in trying to help us with that.
Oh, good.
Choosing some of the species for that garden. So if at all possible, I would love to meet her today. I am going on vacation on this coming up I'll be out Thursday, Friday, and Monday, and then we have town meeting next week. So. But I want to try to get some plantings, if at all possible, tomorrow to start doing the garden. It's going to start raining a lot, and it's kind of nice when I don't have to water it as much,
Right.
when nature helps us.
Mm.
And the DPW's been in there installing, the water department and the DPW have been installing all sorts of new spigots all around the cemetery. So they've been in there, they were in there all day yesterday, they're gonna be in there today, and probably a little bit tomorrow.
Good.
So, and they're also stump grinding in there today as well.
Great.
So it's quite noisy over there then.
Well, I really think that we need to address the entrance. And I think it would be nice if we were all there looking at the entrance and you guys came up with some ideas while we were there. And I think if we could do that sooner than later, because I hate to get the sign and put the sign in at the entrance and then we change the entrance. I kind of want to make one fell swoop.
Okay.
Right.
All the sign at the new entrance.
What time would work for everybody? I'm gonna go. Kim's got a doctor's appointment this morning at 11:30 in Hyannis, so I could leave by 11, or we'll be back by noon, so or a little after 12:30 or so.
I don't think the tour is going to take that long. So I think it'll
I
be.
don't know what time you had in mind for doing this.
What time do you guys want to do it?
Now,
I'm free anytime.
I got bees to take care of.
Can we do it right now?
Yeah, we can meet you there in like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
So do we need to adjourn the meeting now, or do we adjourn it
You
there?
adjourn now, and then I'll just bring a notepad with me, and we can.
Okay.
All right.
And what's our next meeting?
The next meeting. I really
So
gotta read this, don't I?
we're not going to be able to meet next Tuesday, only because I won't be able to post the meeting in time, because I'll be away. Can we meet after town meeting? Do you want to meet after town meeting, or do you want to try to meet next week one day?
We're going away for a week starting Friday, going down to Virginia.
Okay.
Nice.
So I'll be back then.
All right. So we can meet the following, instead of the 4th, we would meet on the 11th. Do you want to meet on May 11th?
I believe that's fine.
Is that okay?
Looks fine.
Okay. Could I also put in a, I can put in a meeting for the 8th, just a placeholder for us, and we don't have to meet unless we need to, if we get something back where we want to withdraw the college thing. We couldn't have a meeting time right before the town meeting. And if the attorneys want us to withdraw the CPC article, we could make the motion to withdraw rather than somebody else making that motion.
And that's on Saturday morning.
Yeah, that's Saturday morning. I think a lot of the committees just put it in as a meeting time, and if anything unexpected comes up, then they can legally meet before town meeting. So it's just a placeholder. We won't have anything. I'll ask the town administrator what I should put on, just to keep it for a placeholder.
Okay.
And I'll put that in probably today, so that later today, so that way we just have it.
Should we set another date so we can do another cemetery?
Sure. Do you want to just do it after the May 11th meeting? Because Steve's going to be away for a week. Then we have town
Fine by me.
meeting. And then on the May 11th meeting, I could just put in, where do you guys want to go? We can do 2 smaller ones, or we can go to Evergreen. Evergreen's pretty big, so we have to walk both sections.
So why don't we take care of it again, then the following time we can pick another time to go, just a random morning, we can go do like Kelly, North Harwich, and all the other small ones.
Okay. All right. So we'll do Evergreen tour on the 11th after the meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
Great.
I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay.
A second.
So it is 8:48.
8:48.
All right. I will see you all at Island Pond.
Okay, we'll see you in a few minutes.
Cindy, is that unanimous?